know, what a great turnout. You know, there was a threat of rain, and there's no media support, so to speak. I really thank you for coming. First, some housekeeping. I don't want you to leave any litter behind because we're going to be charged for the cleanup. You know, the U.S. Park Service said that after Farrakhan's Million Man March, they cleaned up 14 tons of garbage, and it cost us, the taxpayer, millions of dollars. Last Saturday at the Tea Party in Washington, we actually had 1 million and a lot more people there. They didn't leave a gum wrapper behind. And so, let's be like them. You know, thinking people are really fed up with liberals on American programs. They're fed up with the cowardice of Republicans who allowed it to happen. They're fed up with funding Acorn, enabling child prostitution rings, and electing presidents. You know, they're fed up with Jews and Christians whose apathy allowed it all to happen. We've allowed it. You know, General Douglas MacArthur was a brilliant military strategist. There were some islands in the Pacific that the Japanese held, and they were too well fortified. So he just went around them. And the liberals have really learned from him. They simply went around the voters and went to the courts. When they can't get a majority vote, they use the Supreme Court. For instance, would a majority of Americans voted to throw God out of school? Would have the majority voted to do that? Would the majority of Americans voted to kill 50 million American babies? I don't think they would. You know, courts can, and courts have. You know, we have another problem now. Not many people remember George Soros' promise back in 2000. He promised us he would spend his billions. And I won't get into that, how he got his billions, but he's a criminal. He promised he would spend his billions on giving us our 2009 president and the majority in our Congress. And he kept it. It was funded by George Soros, supported by MoveOn.org. And his lapdogs that he put into office are voting for cap and trade, and they're going to vote for national health care. You know, lapdogs have no choice. They have to sit on his lap. Would the majority of Americans voted to enslave our children and grandchildren with $1 trillion in debt for unconstitutional programs? I don't think so. We have no George Soros to fund freedom and American ideals. It's up to us to fund freedom and to fight for it. Last night on Fox News, they were in Honduras. Anybody see the interview in Honduras? A couple of months ago, President Zelaya was overthrown by his military. The military had sworn to uphold and defend the Constitution of Honduras. The Honduran president was governing outside the Constitution. And they had two choices. One, they could break the oath they had sworn. Or two, they could remove a liar and a tyrant from office and hold new elections. Men of honor keep their oath. And you know, strange thing, President Obama instantly sided with President Zelaya. You notice that? Every member of our military has sworn an oath. To worship Obama? No, to defend and uphold our Constitution. You know, liberals are really lucky that they don't live in a country like Honduras where people take the Constitution seriously. They live in America where people don't take the Constitution seriously. In fact, most of us haven't even read it. Not in this crowd, but most of Americans. I wonder what our military is thinking about their oath just about now. You know, our liberals are really lucky. The media call us brown shirts. Well, my shirt's blue. In fact, I don't see many brown shirts here. But because we oppose government health care. For one thing, we oppose anything that's unconstitutional. And a little history lesson here for the media. Nazi, do you know what it stands for? It's an acronym. It means National Socialist Party. You know, they took over finance. They took over the car industry. They took over health care. Do you know anybody that's doing that? Who are the brown shirts? It's certainly not us. We're the exact opposite of what the brown shirts were. You know, the people who want to see Obama's birth certificate, they're called birthers, and they're called crazy. Well, let me tell you something about, I've observed human nature now for 65 years, and when normal people see something so illogical that they are in danger of losing their sanity, they try to grab some logic. And so they're thinking, when something is so bad, when a president of unparalleled, unknown origin works to destroy everything that we're believing in, he apologizes to our enemies, and he bows in Islamic fashion to Muslim superiors. Well, you have to wonder, is that crazy? They're calling us crazy. I heard we're $11 trillion in debt. Do you know what our unfunded mandates are? $57 trillion. Do you know what the net worth of America is? $55 trillion. We're $2 trillion beyond bankrupt. And yet, we want to enslave our children and grandchildren with another trillion here, a trillion there, cap and trade, national health. As I said, lapdogs have no choice. They're going to vote for those things. They're going to be called bad names for being here. Good. You will be. You know, when I ran a company in Heidelberg, Germany, and that's where I learned about the Soviet re-education camps and the psychiatric hospitals. They were for people who didn't agree with their communist government. If you don't agree with the government, you must be crazy or stupid, or racist, or so they would. You know, I don't care if Obama was green. I would love him if he would stay within the Constitution. But not agreeing with the government qualified them to be put in a psychiatric hospital where they languished until they would say, communism is great. Our government is great. Please do what you want to do. I agree with it now. Is it like that now? The media is calling us crazy. They're calling us racist. But when we leave here, it's just the beginning. First, arm yourselves by knowing our Constitution. Our elected leaders have sworn to something that I don't think many of them have even read. Sort of like a local congressman not reading but voting yes on cap and trade. What a wheelbarrow full he is. You know, that really makes me sick. 500 votes. Actually, it was 251 votes because of 251 people had just voted for him. For another guy, this congressman, I'm not going to even name him, wouldn't have won. And of course, as I said, he had no choice. Second, support those candidates who are going to follow the Constitution instead of winning votes by promising other people's money. You know, after a while, you run out of other people's money. I want you to sign up with Dana. There's going to be an opportunity for action alerts. We're going to mobilize. You folks are the vanguard of the revolution, and it might get nasty. I hope you're ready to get nasty. It may end up on the ground. It may be some... I love these signs. These are great signs. I hope the media is getting some of those signs. I know we have a great photographer here, some professionals who are getting the great signs. This is just the beginning. The giant has been awakened. There's going to be a reckoning. Like America has never seen.
Next election, George.
You're the vanguard of the revolution that's going to take back our country. Thank you for coming.